Okay, so in the last class, we had discussed about the discovery of electron, right? Discovery of electron. Who conducted this discharge ray tube experiment? Aditya Dev?
Michael Faraday.
Yeah, Michael Faraday. Then what's the main observation in this experiment? Devika, can you tell me?
Yes, ma'am. Cathode rays moves from cathode to the anode.
Okay. Then how can we detect this rays, anode rays? Jewel, can you tell me? Jewel, are you there? Yes. Okay, Rose, can you tell me what's the main observation? Oh, sorry. How can we detect the presence of cathode rays?
Ma'am, is it metal?
Which type of material is used to detect that substances? We just apply one coating, right? Which one is that?
Fluorescent?
Yeah, fluorescent or phosphorescent material is coated just behind this anode just to detect the presence of cathode rays. So these cathode rays, they are negatively charged and these particles are later known as electrons. Shall I move to next point? Next topic, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. The next one, this charge to mass ratio. Okay, charge to mass ratio, the determination of an electron. Charge to mass ratio determination of an electron. Here also, one experiment is there. This experiment measures the electron to mass, that means charge of electron, just 1 minute. Charge of electron to mass ratio. We can write E for the charge of electron. Okay, then M stands for mass of electron. So using one experiment, we can able to find out the ratio of charge to mass or charge to mass ratio. So this experiment measures the charge to mass ratio, the charge to mass ratio of the electron, E by M. It was represented by E by M, or you can also write E by ME. ME stands for mass of electron. E by M or E by ME, mass of electron. This ratio was first measured by J.J. Thomson in 1897, and he won a Nobel Prize for his study of electrons. Okay, this experiment was conducted by J.J. Thomson in 1897. He won a Nobel Prize for his study of electrons. And this experiment just to find out the ratio of electron, charge of electron to the mass of that electron. E by ME. Okay. Have you completed the slide?
No, ma'am.
Okay, then you can complete it. All of you, please switch on your videos. Dream Fatima, can you please read the slide?
This experiment measures the charge of electron by
Charge,
mass.
charge to mass. Ah, okay, you are reading this one. Okay, okay, continue.
Electron, the charge to mass ratio of the electron. This ratio was measured by J.J. Thomson in 1897.
Okay,
He won a Nobel Prize for his study of electrons.
okay. So E stands for charge of electron and ME stands for mass of that electron. Okay, then we can discuss the experiment. Have you completed this one, children? Yes, right? All of you? Yes. So this is the experiment. In 1897, British physicist J.J. Thomson measured the ratio of electrical charge to the mass of electron by using cathode ray tube and applying electrical and magnetical field perpendicular to each other as well as to the path of electrons. Just 1 minute. Okay. So J.J. Thomson, he measured the ratio of electrical charge to the mass of electron by using cathode ray tube and applying electrical and magnetic field perpendicular to each other as well as to the path of electrons. So here this experiment, it was similar to that of the previous one. We have learned that in a cathode ray tube or in a discharge tube, this cathode rays or the particles move from cathode to anode, right? Here also, in this discharge tube, these particles were moved from the cathode to anode. Okay, particles are moved from cathode to anode. After that, we will apply electrical and magnetical field perpendicular to the path of electrons. You can see here a magnet and one positive and negative charge. That means electrons are also applied. Here, magnets, so magnetic field is applied. Then here you can see plus and minus charge. That means electrical field is also applied. We have learned that certain particles, that means cathode rays, may move from cathode to anode, right? So this path of electron, it will be in a straight way. After some time, we will apply electric field and magnetic field to the path of this electron. Okay, perpendicularly. By applying electrical and magnetical field perpendicular to each other as well as to the path of electrons. First, we simply apply the electrical field. Okay, electric field is simply applied to this path of electron and we can get a spot at the position A. It travels in a straight line and when we apply an electrical field, we get a deflection and it is spotted as A. This is a fluorescent screen that is used to detect these particles. I told you we cannot able to see it with naked eyes. Okay, so here we using one fluorescent or phosphorescent screen in order to observe that rays. Okay, so it usually travels in a straight line. By the application of electrical field, this path is deflected and it is spotted at position A. Okay, then after applying magnetic field, it will again deviated the path and another spot is located, that's the position C. On applying electrical field, it's deflected from the straight line and this spot A is obtained. And when applying this magnetic field, the straight line is again deviated and spotted at path C. Clear? It usually travels in straight line. On the application of electric field, it is deviated from its path and spotted at A. And when applying this magnetic field, it is spotted at C. And when we are balancing this magnetic field and electrical field again together, we can able to bring back this deviated rays back to its straight line, that is B. So here there are three conditions. In the case of A, applying electric field, then C, applying magnetic field, then B, it usually travels in straight line. And when we are applying this electric field and magnetic field mutually perpendicular or balancing to each other, we can bring back that deviated cathode ray to its straight line. So these are the main observations that we can obtain through this experiment. It was conducted by J.J. Thomson. Okay. So when only electric field is applied, it is deviated to the path A. Then only magnetic field is applied, it is deviated to the path C. And when we are applying both this electric field and magnetic field, mutually balancing each other, we can bring back this cathode ray again to its position, straight line. Clear? Do you have any doubt in this experiment? Anyone? Is this clear for you? Yes or no?
Ma'am,
Yes.
can you explain it again?
Yes, sure. Usually, you can write along with me. Then you will get more idea. Usually, cathode rays travel in a straight line. That means in the absence of electric field and magnetic field. Then on application of electric field, cathode ray deviate and spotted at A. Then on application of magnetic field, cathode ray deviate and spotted at, C. Spotted at C. Then by applying balancing force or balancing electric and magnetic field, we can bring back the cathode ray to its original path. In bracket, that is spotted as C. Sorry, B. Spotted as B. This figure in your textbook, okay, that image apparatus to determine the charge to mass ratio of electron. So these are the main observations of this experiment.
Ma'am,
Yes.
so is voltage applied initially on both the electrodes to move the cathode rays?
Once again, it's not clear for me.
Is
Somebody-
voltage applied on both the electrodes to move the cathode rays?
That means straight, right?
Well, like in the first experiment.
It will automatically produce this light. Okay, and in the first case, we just apply high voltage, right? And I told you on the absence of such fields, it will travel straight line. I told you to add one point there, right? Do you remember that one? In the
Yes, ma'am.
absence, yeah, in the absence of electric field, it usually travels in a straight line. On the application of electric field, it usually it can deviate from its path, and in the application of magnetic field also, it's deviated.
And so is voltage required to produce the cathode rays?
Travel in straight path.
No, just to produce the cathode rays from the cathode to the anode.
It's just application of electric field is required.
Okay.
Okay.
ma'am.
Yes. That's why I just shown in that image. There is one battery that's connected to that cathode and anode. You can see it in the image. I will show it once again. By applying such electric field, we can able to produce cathode rays. Are you finished this one, children? All of you. Nimida, finished?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, here, Shabarinath, can you look here? Here some
Yes, ma'am.
battery is provided. That means electrical field is applied there. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So this is the source to produce cathode rays. Okay. Then there are certain arguments based on this experiment. That means the application of electric field and magnetic field, it will affect the path of this cathode rays, right? It will affect the characteristics of cathode rays. So the first point, the magnitude of negative charge on the particle. How this magnitude of negative charge on the particle will affect this one. Affect the value of this charge of electron to mass ratio. So the first thing is magnitude of negative charge on the particle. So the first point, greater the magnitude of charge on the particle, greater is the interaction with the electric or magnetic field, and thus greater is the deflection. Clear? The magnitude of negative charge on the particle, it's the first factor. And if it is greater the magnitude of charge on the particle, greater is the interaction with the electric or magnetic field, and thus greater is the deflection. It will show more deflection if the charge of the particle is greater. That means more interaction with both electric field and magnetic field, and greater interaction, and that leads to greater deflection. Then the second one, mass of the particle. How this mass of the particle affects the cathode rays characteristics. Lighter the particle, greater the deflection. If the particle is more lighter, the deflection will be more. Then the third one, it is strength of the electrical or magnetical field. Strength of electrical or magnetic field. The deflection of electrons from its original path increases with increase in the voltage across the electrodes or the strength of magnetic field. So the strength of electrical or magnetical field increases, automatically increases the deflection of electrons from its normal path. So there are three factors. First one, magnitude of negative charge. Second one, mass of the particle. Third one, strength of electrical or magnetic field. In the first case, the magnitude of negative charge. If greater is the magnitude of negative charge, greater will be the interaction, greater will be the deflection. In the second case, mass of the particle. If lighter the particle, greater will be the deflection. In the third case, strength of electrical or magnetic field. The deflection of electrons from its original path increases with the increase of strength in electrical field and magnetical field. That means if the voltage across the electrodes or the strength of magnetic field increases, the deflection also increases. So these are the three factors that will affect the characteristics of this cathode rays. And it will also affect the ratio of charge of electron to the mass. Malavika,
Yes, ma'am.
can you please read the slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
The magnitude of the negative charge on the particle. Greater the magnitude of the charge on the particle, greater is the interaction with the electric or magnetic field, and thus greater is the deflection.
Yes.
Second point, the mass of the particle. Lighter the particle, greater the deflection. Third one, the strength of the electric or magnetic field. The deflection of electrons from its original path increases with the increase in the voltage across the electrodes, or the strength of the ma'am, I can't see what's
Magnetic
magnetic field. Strength of the magnetic field.
Okay. Children, have you completed this one?
No, ma'am.
Is it no or yes?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
Okay, you can complete it. And after this experiment, this J.J. Thomson, he reached at one value for the ratio of this charge of electron to the mass of that electron. So we need to just learn that charge to mass ratio also. And its value that is equal to E by ME 1.758820 into 10 raised to 11 coulomb per kilogram. Unit of charge, it is coulomb, and unit of mass, it is kilogram. That's why the unit of this charge to mass ratio, it is 1.758820 into 10 raised to 11 coulomb per kilogram. Coulomb is the charge of electron and kilogram is the charge of mass. Coulomb is the unit of electron and this kilogram is the unit of mass. So that's about the experiment related to charge to mass ratio of an electron. Have you completed, children? Yes, right? So all of you, please read this portion very well from your textbook. Then after that, we can continue the topic charge on electron and mass of electron. From this ratio, we can able to determine the charge and mass of electron. Okay, before that, you can read this portion thoroughly. Clear? Okay, then thank you all. See you in the next class. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.